This is a film that at its core, it's about faith, it's about protecting your family, it's about doing the right thing in spite of all of these obstacles.
The overall concept of being stripped away from our technology and our luxuries and everything, and what is a person left with? Like, what part of the script really resonated with you in regards to that element?
Yeah, I think the humanity of that, like we can all ask that question. You can all kind of put yourselves there, I think, and then really try to answer that question for yourself. I mean, you asked it, but I have to go
Mm.
answer it now, and so do you, and so does he, and so does she, and so I think that was a really interesting aspect of this project is you don't just walk away and go, oh yeah. You walk away and you go, huh, and then you meet up with some other people and you're like, hey, I got a question for you. Like, are you ready? Do you feel like, and I don't want people to think it's fear driven either. It's not. What I really love is that this is actually like it's hope driven. It's kind of a faith driven. But it's not forced in your face. It's like we're just presenting this world and these people to you, and you have the option to really explore it. And I think people will. I mean, I walked away and asked those questions.
Yeah.
I still am. Right? And now being on this show, I'm like daily thinking about it, actually trying to change my life, my how my family lives and operates for the good, Not out of like scared of the bitter end, but wow, yeah, I want to be I want to be the leader of my home. I want to be in charge, I want to work together with people and build a community of people that we love and trust each other and we got each other's backs. Let's do that.
Yeah, and I feel like each of the characters kind of has something they're trying to maintain or hold on to throughout this whole experience. What are some of the things that your characters are really trying to maintain through the whole experience?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good question. For Jeff, he is trying to maintain control, right? Military guy, job, mission, keep the homestead safe, protect our families, keep the bad guys out,
Mm.
lock it down. The situation doesn't really make that very easy. There are a lot of, obstacles out there. Very, a lot of things are moving at 100 miles an hour. But that makes for a great story. We got to overcome these obstacles, but yeah, that's what it is for Jeff.
Mm. Yeah, I think Evan is always trying to operate in this world and still find maybe the fruits of the spirit kind of hits it on the
Hmm.
love, joy, peace, patience, gentleness, goodness, kindness, and self-control. I think he's a character who's constantly hoping to find that himself, but also trying to. I think he sees it in others and
Mm.
other characters, especially Jeff, and
Yeah.
wants to pull it out and then, like sees the potential in there, and even in the hard times, And so I think that's what Evan's after.
Yeah.
What were some of the most rewarding moments of working on kind of this post-apocalyptic type genre kind of film? And what were some of the challenges in there too?
For myself and portraying Jeff, yeah, he wants control, trying to control the controllables, but there are things out of his control, right? And so then what am I, running up against, and things spiral and get out of control, and then there's the other side of that. So that's what was kind of cool for me to be able to lean into those flaws and let the armor
Mm.
go for a minute. And that's, what I think is so important in our dynamic that the audience will enjoy and respect when um Jeff maybe no longer knows where he's headed. And thank God, Evan's got my six. So
Mm.
that's a cool turning point in the story. And then where it ends up is a totally different place than where we start, without giving anything away.
Playing like ex-military special forces guys, what kind of some preparation and training that you guys went through to prepare for these roles?
Started with kind of what we just had coming into it. It's like, hey, where were you in life? Where was I? And here we go.
Mhm.
Uh, which I think we each had a little bit of something.
Yeah, sure.
We've played characters like this in the past. That's always helpful. But
Yeah.
for this, the team actually started to come around us quite quickly. And I know personally, I reached out to some friends who are ex-military, and they put me in touch with uh, a gentleman named Josh, and he's actually is still a current Green Beret, and that really helped me because I would
Yeah.
text him all the time, like sending pictures of my wardrobe or be like, hey, is this something you do? Like, am I in the right ballpark here? What do you think? And that's been really helpful, to pull on real people. But then also they took us out. We're shooting some guns.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, that
fantastic.
that was cool. And having having access, and that was great for just the camaraderie and the bonding and going out. And I got very competitive out
Yeah,
there
yeah,
on the shooting range. So that was cool. But then having access, to the real life Jeff
yeah,
and being like, hey,
sir.
what would you do in this situation? What is it like when you come home, from overseas and
Yeah.
trying to reintegrate into your family and going to your son's track meet and what is that like? And are you still
Mhm.
and he candidly answered all of that and I took that information and put it through my filter and
Yeah,
I think it comes across on screen.
yeah,
Yeah, it's awesome to have that resource
It's
like
sure,
that.
yeah. Big difference. Yeah.
Um, and this movie is kind of all about like resilience, doing the right thing no matter what. Why is that important for audiences to see in today's society?
Yeah, that's a good question.
yeah,
Because what's the alternative, right? We've got so
yeah,
many things pulling us apart, polarizing, the political stuff, elections. This is a film that at its core, it's about faith, it's about protecting your family, it's about doing the right thing in spite of all of these obstacles. So,
yeah.
to give up is failure. So that's not an option. We got to go the other way. And I think
Mhm.
what's beautiful um, about this story is where we end up, and then the series is going to pick up right
Yeah.
where the film leaves off, and then it just so I can't wait, man. I'm
Yeah.
super pumped about this.
Sometimes we think we're doing the right thing and then it all goes wrong.
I feel like every character in this movie kind of has their own some kind of element they're trying to maintain throughout this whole situation. What was that for your character?
Jenna is the heart of the homestead, right? It's sort of an adage we've adopted for her. I think the biggest piece in that respect is that you've got her husband, played by Neil, who is very action oriented right now, as a man would be. It's a very masculine quality. And then you've got Jenna that's still like, well, hold on a second. Just because all of this is happening doesn't mean we have to lose our foundational belief structure, our fundamental belief and faith. And I think that the challenge here is like being faced with these behemoth issues and high stakes, fear of death, people trying to take what you have, your safety, your families. Even in the face of all of that, are you able to keep a hold on a true faith and a trust in what that divine architecture has in store for you? So, for Jenna, this is her grounding element. She is the rock and she has to become that for everyone around her because everybody's forgetting, right? Completely forgetting. Everything goes out the door. Where they go, well, I don't know. We have to kill everyone now. It's like, no, you don't. Wait a second. Let's
Yeah.
remember what we believe. Let's remember what our faith is and what we have faith in. So this is, for Jenna, I think it's even harder to do that in the face of such extreme conflict.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And doing this type of like a post-apocalyptic type movie, what are some of the challenges and rewards of working on a film like this?
Well, I love a film because you have a clear arc, right? You know where you're going to end, so you can start in a different place and you can build out the evolution of a character fairly easier. Uh, with a TV series, which is what the film ends up turning into, the arc becomes an undulation, sort of like a breath, an in and out breath of evolution. And so building that is way more dynamic, and there's a refined sense of structure that you have to impart onto the building of a story, at least for your own self. So between those two things, I mean, that's the benefit of that, and then the negative side of it too. It's like it goes hand in hand.
And kind of the overarching theme of the movie is if you take away all the luxuries and technologies and everything, what is a person left with? What is so important about that message for people today who are kind of over enveloped with technology and everything?
I think if you can just remember that fear fear negates a miracle,
Mhm.
right? So if you act from a place of fear and you let the fear define who you are in a moment and how you navigate situations, you're pretty much setting yourself up for no miracles. Right. So you can count you okay, well, this is gonna happen. I gotta get rid of that guy, I gotta do that. You can lay your plan out. If you move from your heart and you have faith and you believe and you don't know anything else, you don't know how it's going to work out, but you just believe, the belief and the trust is what invites the miracle in. And then something you could have never conceived of happening, that's when it happens. And if
Mhm.
you have those two paths, and we as people, I mean, this isn't just some movie situation that we're creating for fun. This is real life. I've lived this, right? So, but it takes a lot of courage to do it the second way. It's really easy to move from fear. It's really easy to fight an enemy, right? It's really easy. It's much easier to do that than to believe and to have compassion and to let in people and see yourself in them and believe an animal has a soul and you can see yourself in that animal. It's to do that is not it's not as easy as just fighting everything in a sense,
Mhm.
right? It's a cultivated muscle. Because when you do that, there's like a fear mechanism in your brain that goes, oh, no, no, you can't do that. Like it's gonna create so many more problems. How are you gonna feed that thing? What about sickness? It's gonna like try to take from you and like you gotta survive, you gotta save yourself. So that's what your mind will start doing because your mind does have an inclination for fear. But to move in that other direction, when you choose that, some other force from some other place comes in, steps in, and helps you. So
I feel
it's
like that's like your character
it is.
kind of
That's
right
what
there,
yeah, it
You know?
is. She's
Yeah,
teaching that, but teaching that by
exactly. Yeah.
example. So people, it's my hope that people can watch this and realize this is a real life lesson. This is a real thing you can do. You can choose to not look at the fear. Don't try to overanalyze something and justify things and risk management. All the things that the masculine is doing is a very masculine quality. Fair enough. But you can also move in this other way, and it's much easier for me. I say that, but it's very hard for a lot of people because it's whoa, that's not we can't we need to plan it. We got to figure it out. So I hope that Jenna's character can walk as an example for that type of living.
And I think you and Neil's character really played that well,
Yeah.
especially just the way you guys interacted was fantastic. And I think it was funny to watch as a dad, like his
Uh,
character trying to make sure everyone's safe and
yeah.
secure,
You can
but the mom
relate to
still wanting
that.
to bring more in. Yeah, I thought that
Yeah.
was a great element to it.
Well, and at the end of the day, those two elements they complement each other.
Hmm.
That's why we go together, and maybe my character is just for the women, but maybe also men can watch that and see how that works also. So they learn to open up to that intuition.
What were some of the challenges of filming on set there? I mean, it looked like an amazing location
Oh my
for
gosh.
Homestead,
The
but
challenges are going to work anywhere else because you're like, wow, this is amazing. I go to Lioness and I'm out in the desert and it's hot, 110 degrees, and I'm dying, literally dying, can't remember dialogue. But then I go to Homestead and it's like, it's like, it's most literally the Garden of Eden. So, yeah, that's the hard part is having to leave set and go work anywhere else.
and with the show coming up,
Yeah.
I don't want to give anything away, but
Yeah.
what else do we have in store for your character?
What I'm excited about with Jenna is her evolution. I'm excited because I've really leaned on rewinding her as much as I possibly can because I know where she's going to go. Because anybody watching me playing this character knows probably where we could go because I have a very, I don't really have a governor on my levels. So to be able to build her to a point where, whoa, we can really watch her step into her own power. That just means we have to start way far away from that. So this building out that journey as delicately as I can, and also to offer as much longevity as I can. You know, who knows how long this show is going to go for, which means I have to be able to carry that out, that evolution, for as long as I possibly can. You know, it's like singing a note. It's like singing a musical note. You just have to hold it. So I'm gonna do the best that I possibly can.
Did you have any prior knowledge of like the prepper type world before doing anything like this?
Not to this extent. I didn't know that
Yeah.
this kind of thing existed, like giant palatial estates that are 3 years, like coordinated log systems for entry. Like I didn't know that was going on. It makes me feel very underprepared, right? It exists here, Hawaii. There's some in Hawaii. It's like, you know, it's an interesting thing that is a really, it's an organized effort. I think all of us know some, at least me. I mean, I have parents that have a cellar that have a bunch of stashed food, beans, rice, things like that. So it's not like I'm completely foreign to the idea of just being prepared in case.
Mhm.
I have a little bit of it in me, right? I have a big ranch, 160 acres in Arkansas. We've got horses and milk cow, goats and chickens for eggs. And I'm building out a garden right now so that I can grow our own food, you know, so it's in me. I'm no stranger to it.
And now, a brief word from our sponsor.
You think that you're above the law? You think that the rules aren't for you?
Is this an ark? Or is this a fortress?
It's our home.
If you enjoy videos that follow your values like ours, and you want to help us continue, go to movieguide.org/donate, because we're actually a nonprofit. You may not know that, but we're working in Hollywood every day to help families have more choices that follows their values. And also subscribe right now.